He's back. He's back. Who's back? Who are you talking about? This is the bowl. We're gonna laugh the whole time. This is the Bowl Live. But what I'm really wanting to bring you is this gentleman's great story. Now, I talked to him once before a few months ago, but I wanted to bring him back for a live shot because I love the concepts and I love what he does and I love how he does it. This is E.A. Csolkovitz, and I think I said his name right this time. And he's with something called Givers University. And that giver's mindset, givers versus takers mindset, is something I wanted to talk to him about today and bring it to you. So welcome, EA. Welcome back.
It's so great to be here. And I have to say, I had so much fun on our interview. You know, I mean, I've been blessed. I've done, probably 100 interviews. In fact, I know I've done 100 interviews since like last April. And yours is absolutely one of the funnest because you're so genuine and you absolutely care about your whole audience. And by following it on social media, you are becoming like a Chris Jones conglomerate of all of the things you got going between music, the listen to and everything else. You are just awesome, buddy. So you are major thumbs up for the Bo Knows.
Well, thanks, EA. Wow. And it's because of people like you that disseminate valuable and most awesome information about how to get ahead in life and in business. The idea, and I want to have you explain this actually, because this is such a great thing in business, givers versus takers. How do you, and you like to use the word discern, and which is what you have to do. And when you're in business, you have to discern between, well, people are going to give you or they're going to just take and do nothing. Can you explain what you do at Givers University?
Absolutely. First of all, I suggest emphatically that to all your listeners, we love everybody. I say it again. We love everybody. Mm-hmm. And what we teach is how to discern. And I can share with you with like I said, the 100 interviews I've done, not one host or even feedback from a listener has said someone else is teaching something like that, because it's so, what we're teaching is so unique and so different and so needed. And what we teach basically, to simplify it, is we teach how to discern, to separate the person who we love, separate those from their deeds, which we may not love, to separate the person from the deeds, because we love everybody. So first of all, when we use the term giver, Chris, we're identifying their deeds. We're not calling a person a giver. We're identifying their deeds. Right. When we say taker, we're not identifying a person. Oh, you're a taker, and do the noise like, the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I still have to work on that sound, where they point and they make that sound. It's not something like that. Anyway, yeah, that's how you know they're a pod. They're a pod. Yeah. So we're not identifying people. We're identifying the deeds. And we teach people by teaching actual checklists. Look for these specific things because there are indicators and there are things you can look for that will give you a notice, because ideally what we want to do is be able to discern by looking at specific deeds of people, looking at their actions, right? Because our walk talks louder than our talk. People can learn the right things to say, but it's very difficult to hide your walk. Well, the things we do in our deeds, they show, right? So we teach people how to look at those specific kinds of deeds. What are the things I should be looking for, so that when I see them doing these certain things, I can pull them closer into my life and become a part of what we call our giver community, because givers always bring with them, Chris, the 3 W's of givers: wisdom, wealth, and wellness. By contrast, when we look at certain other deeds, we may want to begin discerning and respectfully distancing ourselves from them, not rude or nasty, not being insensitive, but respectfully distancing ourselves from them, because takers bring with them the 3 D's of takers: defeatism, disruption, and destruction. So when you bring them into your life, those things are coming with them. And you're going to be stomping out fires not of your making. So your productivity goes down because you're stomping out fires instead of producing results. Hey, stress level goes straight up. everyone gets all stressed because you see the guy coming at you from across the room and you go, oh my God, here he comes again. And then also the energy trainers where we have these conversations, and at the end of the conversation, we don't even remember what the subject matter was, but we do know one thing. We have no more energy left. They just drained it all from us. So those things, when we really think about it, and we from a macro view, let's take a big step back. When we take a big step back, see, the bow knows how to take steps back. All right, so we take this step back and look at the macro view, the big view, and we see businesses open and closing faster than ever before. Right. They're opening and closing faster. Businesses used to be multi-generational, right? Through generations of families. Now, 4, 5, 6 years, and it's gone up and it got big and then implodes. And then we have products being antiquated overnight by brand new products. So everything's moving faster and faster. As it moves faster, what happens is we only have one thing left: our relationships. And no one's teaching, how do we discern? In other words, I know for a fact, Chris, that you are an absolute giver and self-improvement guy. You love self-improvement. I love self-improvement. I'm a self-improvement geek, right? I love it. Yeah. But no one's teaching us. How about the other guy? What if he's not doing it right? What should I do about that? I shouldn't be accountable for what he's doing wrong or what he's not doing right. Then I certainly don't want to pull that in my life and be wasting time on energy drainers and takers who are making me collateral damage. I don't want to be collateral damage. I want to be surrounded with the right kind of people.
And that's it, really, surrounding yourself with the right kind of people. Because if you surround yourself with takers, they're all they're gonna want to do is take and take and take, and they really have nothing to contribute. And those are the people that just think woe is me and all that stuff. EA, those are great concepts. In fact, they're next level concepts. And I wanted to kind of ask you, and I want to talk about your beginnings. You started out as the son of a milkman, I think age 16, right? At that point. And by age 23, you were a millionaire. And it involved Ray Kroc from McDonald's. Can we tell that story?
Sure. Be happy to. Yeah. I was born in I live in Michigan now, but I was born in the greater Chicagoland area, in an area called Oak Brook. Chicago of course, has a lot of suburbs, right? And Oak Brook is one of them. Mm-hmm. And at the ripe old age, and I was born and raised in that area. And at the ripe old age of 16, I decided to become a janitor. And the janitorial service I worked for, one of the accounts they had that I was able to go into because I was bondable. Bondable means I was able to be insured. So, if I was cleaning the floor and my buffer hit a piece of equipment, insurance company would cover it. Right. Because of that, I was able to clean a home of a lady. Her name was June Martino. And June had the third most controlling stock in McDonald's. Back then, her home was $1 million home. She had a full-time maid and a butler. The maid's name was Viola. I don't remember what the butler's name was, but and these are full-time staff, right? And so I was I cleaned her house every single Wednesday, and she was an icon because I'm 65 years old now, and back then when I was sick, even at 16, she already had the third most controlling stock in McDonald's. And I lived in Oak Brook, where the world headquarters for McDonald's was. Wow. For decades. So the whole McDonald's phenomenon, I sort of witnessed it in my life, right?
Wow.
In the movie The Founder with Michael Keaton, he opens the first one in Des Plaines. We drove by that franchise every night after delivering milk with my father. We drove by that McDonald's in Des Plaines, wow. As we drove home. So I witnessed this whole thing. So I was in June's house and cleaning it every single Wednesday. And I love being in there, by the way, because I thought, man, people really live like this. I mean, here I am, a janitor, and I'm there to buff the floors with a special buffing pad and clean the swimming pool and clean the garage. Loved cleaning the garage. The garage was my favorite because in order to clean the garage, I had to pull out the Rolls Royce.
Oh,
what? So here I sat in a car that was worth 10 lifetimes of my income, right? Yeah. And then at night, I would go home and drive my Rolls Canardly, which, basically that's a car that rolls down one hill and can hardly make it up the next. So
yes, there you go.
It's a Rolls Canardly. And so I thought, man, people really live like this, right? This is extraordinary. And this woman, and the thing that was amazing to me, Chris, was how approachable she was. She was nice, and I always thought in my mind, I didn't have a label for it, but I thought up until meeting her that in order to be really, really, I mean, super hyper successful, you had to be a taker. You had to be a jerk. You had to be me only, me first, it's only business, me, right? Yeah. And I don't know where that came from. I just had that in my head. It was just a thought and it was erroneous. Right. It was totally wrong. And she changed my mind as I witnessed her and thought, man, this is amazing how this woman, she's happy. She's never condescending to staff. If I was buffing the floor, to give you an example, and I was looking down and she walked through the room with me looking down, not even acknowledging her, she would still say, hi, how are you today? I mean, she was that nice. So I went up to her one day and I could tell she was in a good mood because I was in there every single Wednesday. I really loved Wednesdays for obvious reasons, right? Yeah. And then I cleaned her other sons' homes on other days too, which were equally amazing. She bought homes for all of her sons. Wow. And yeah, she really did. I mean, they were extraordinary. The Ferraris and, I could go on and on just about the stories of what was in their houses. But so she was in an extra good mood. So I went up to her and I said, hi, June. She was, hi. I mean, just knew who I was. She was always very pleasant and approachable. And I said, can I ask you a question? She said, sure. And I said, could you tell me about it? And she said, well, what's that? And I said, well, the whole McDonald's thing. And I'm not kidding. She put her arm around me, brought me in the kitchen and sat me at the kitchen table there where the food is prepared. Right. And the entire day, because I asked her in the morning, the entire day told me the entire story from the very beginning. And if you saw the movie, The Founder with Michael Keaton plays Ray Kroc. Right. In that movie, he's talking to a lady outside his office all the time. That lady who he's talking outside his office, that's June Martino. That's the lady whose house I cleaned. That lady outside his office. Okay. So that is the same lady. Wow. And what's interesting, it was sort of weird now that I think in retrospect. The movie starts where he's a milkshake mixer salesman. And then he meets the brothers because and goes out to California because they put in this big order for milkshake mixers and all these cups compared to all of his customers. Everyone's dying, and all of a sudden this company is putting these big orders. So he was curious. So she started the story with me one-on-one way back when. This is decades before the movie. At the same time when she worked for Ray, she was just a secretary when he was selling these milkshake mixers. Mm-hmm. So she tells me the whole story, which, by the way, it's a good view. The movie is a good watch. It was out a couple of years ago. It'll be streamed probably for years. Michael Keaton does a great job. I will say this, though. It's very Hollywood spin. It really didn't happen that way. It's based on events those events did happen, but the way they put the Hollywood spin on it, and Ray wasn't that kind of person, the way they pointed him. It's Hollywood spin. But either way, the movie nonetheless is very interesting, and it has some quite interesting points. One of the times in the movie, did you see the movie by any chance?
I have not. And
okay, you got to check it out. It's a worthwhile see.
I will.
And when you see this part, think of me. The Bo can think of EA when he sees this part.
The Bo knows. Hey, I can say that the Bo knows EA.
That's true. You could say that. Yeah. It would be accurate. So here in the movie, there's a part that's referenced, and I actually spent a few minutes on it. And June told me about this event, of course, decades before. There was a time when McDonald's had no money. They were out of money.
Oh boy.
And money was going out that they didn't even have yet. And so she couldn't get paid. So Ray and her made an agreement. Ray and June made an agreement that she would keep working for him for no pay. She wasn't getting paid. And he would give her worthless company stock. I'm saying worth less than zero. It was underwater company stock. Right. And then he would take some of the bill collectors if they called her, hounding her for money. So I asked her, I said, June, I got to ask you. I said, I'm a janitor. I work Friday to Friday. I'm paycheck to paycheck kind of life. If I don't get paid on Friday, I'm not showing on Saturday. I need my paycheck. I live for that paycheck, right?
Yeah.
So I simply asked her, why did you do it? Chris, she sat back and did this eye lock on me and stared at me. And I could tell She just left the room, even though she's looking right at me. And that I had the 16-year-old snot-nosed kid, yours truly, moi, had just asked her a question no one had asked her before. Why'd you do it? And when she spoke, it made the hair stand up on the back of my neck. And I remember so succinctly what she said, the way she said it, and my immediate thought right after. When I asked her, June, why'd you work for nothing? Why'd you do it? She said to me, because I believed in Ray. And I remember how it just like took me back. And my first thought was, that's it. That's the answer. I need to find me a Ray Kroc. It certainly didn't work out too bad for her. I'm cleaning her $1 million home. I need to find someone who can put me under their wing, teach me all this stuff, because I don't even know what I don't know. I don't even know what to ask. I'm a son of a milkman. And I was always happy when people said milkman instead of something else, son of a, and the fact that, I was a janitor, so no special schooling, no special training, nothing. All I know is people really can live like this. And I'm looking at June thinking, well, if she can do it, why can't I? I mean, she's not an alien. I don't see any superpowers. She's a really nice lady. Mm-hmm. She obviously knows something I don't know, or she's doing something I'm not doing, or C, which is both. Yeah. And whatever it is, I could do that. I just got to figure out what it is. And so I threw it out there. And this is one of those things you throw out into the universe, Chris. And I threw it out there. And the question I threw out was real simple. Where's my Ray Kroc? Where would I find my Ray Kroc? And I have to tell you, it wasn't 3 months later. Got that phone call at the office at the janitorial service where I was still working for a little while longer. And my boss picks up the phone and hangs up the phone a couple minutes later. It was at night. It was already past dinner time. I was just sort of talking with him, his friend of the family. And I punched out and we were just chatting. And he says, well, some guy just called from Detroit and he's opening a diamond store. And they need to see some carpeting because they're doing a build out and they want it to look nice. So, he needs to see some carpeting. I said, okay. What's that got to do with me? He says, well, I need you to go. I said, Jerry, I'm not going. I've been cleaning all day long. I'm physically exhausted, just cleaning all day and mentally fatigued. No, I'm not going. He said, dude, you have to stay here. I have to stay here. You got to go for me. I said, and he said, he's leaving in the morning on a plane. That was it. And I said, okay. I said, Jerry, I'm not going. I said, I don't know anything about carpet jobs. He said, well, you got to do the estimate. I said, Jerry, I don't know how to do an estimate. I don't know how to measure carpet. And he gives me this wheel and he says, well, you can walk this way and this way on the room. And I said, give me a call. I said, Jerry, this is not good. I'm not going to do this. I'm not happy about it. He said, I'll tell you what, if you go, I'll give you your pick of any Saturday off you want. Now, Chris, for a janitor, that's a huge negotiation chip. We're cleaning when businesses are closed. So Saturday morning to night, we're cleaning. So I wanted to make sure he didn't trick my ears. So I repeated it back and said, any Saturday I want off? And he sighed and he said, yeah, any Saturday you want off. I said, okay, Jerry, I'll go. So I open up the hatchback of my Rolls Canardly and I started throwing the samples in the back of the car. Now, and I get in the car and I start driving towards this place that's in Berkeley, Illinois, another suburb of Chicago. Right. And I setting the stage for your listeners. I'm exhausted. I'm fatigued. Mentally, I don't want to do this. I'm about ready to do something I've never done before with no one there standing there helping me. I don't want to do that, which means measure the carpet and do a carpet estimate. All these reasons in my mind, I don't want to do it. I'm doing this for one reason and one reason only. What's that reason? Saturday off. That's it. Saturday off. That's the only reason I'm doing it. Little do I know, I'm getting ready to meet my Ray Kroc. Wow. I'm getting ready to meet the man who will change the trajectory of my life forever, that will put the burnt out son of a milkman janitor wires together, all those burnt out wires in my head, and he will reassemble those wires and do massive amounts of brain surgery mentally and emotionally on me to get my mind right. And as a result of that, I started working for him. By the time I was 21, I was chairman of the board of that company and became a millionaire at 33 years old. And then a couple of things I'm going to say right now, it's not to be braggadocious, because I'm not. I want to emphasize to your listeners the power of learning from a giver who has done it, not someone who is an educated idiot. And I got to tell you, I've met a lot of educated idiots. You know, they have all the knowledge and all the information, and they're spewing it out at you, right? One thing after another. Zero application and execution skills.
Yeah, they don't have any way. They didn't actually do it themselves.
And they don't know how. And that's where education gets supplanted by wisdom, is when we have done it. And that's where wisdom is knowing what to do and when to do it. And you only learn those things by doing it. So my mentor was one who had done it. So by the time I was 33 years old, I literally, that was the first year, 1989, I was 33. That was the first year I earned net income over $1 million in personal income after I paid taxes. And I was 33 years old. Now, was any of that because of me? No, I was dumb enough to listen to, first of all, find someone who was way smarter than me, that had done it, not an educated idiot. And I was able to do this. This was my superpower, Chris. I could dumb up. I could dumb up.
Yeah.
I could listen. I was a sponge. I just listened, and every time he spoke, I just went in and I got that information. And how about this? And how about that? And how about this? And I was just soaking it in as fast as I could, learning everything I possibly could.
That's what you have to do. I mean, the moral of this broadcast and this story is, get yourself a mentor. Have a mentor. Find somebody who's done it, like you did. Find your Ray Kroc.
That's exactly right. And I used that model subsequent in my life. I wanted to become a scuba diver. So I became an advanced scuba diver. Why? Because I looked for a guy who actually did search and rescue scuba diving. I wanted to become a commercial pilot. I found the guy who had 4,000 plus hours, who was probably one of the best pilots I know. And all I did was I found these people, all of these things. Are you a pilot? I'm a commercial pilot. Yeah.
We didn't talk about that before.
Yeah, I'm a commercial pilot. And I know that any landing you can walk away from is a good one.
I have to ask you this. Yeah. Now, did you see that? I got to ask you this, and this is off topic a little, but not a lot.
Yeah.
Manifest, the TV series. Did you see it?
No, not even familiar with it.
It's a science fiction thing.
Oh, okay. Which I like. I like sci-fi.
And a pilot lands 5 years after they took off.
Okay.
It's a weird thing, but
if
you haven't seen it, I would check it out, EA, because
right. Manifest.
You're a commercial pilot. You'll appreciate that one.
Manifest, right?
It's on Netflix.
I actually wrote Manifest on my manifest, so I should be good. Okay. So the slightly redundant, but still accurate. Okay. So the the difference was I became a commercial pilot. I got my advanced ratings and being all these things because I found someone who had done these things. And that's the key. And all these people that are, they're afraid to do something, or they're reframing the things improperly in their life. They don't realize they have inadvertently surrounded themselves with takers. One of the great things about a giver who's done it, usually those who are hyper successful are the first ones who are the June Martinos, who will put their arm around you, bring you into the kitchen all day long and tell you the story. The moment they sense that you really genuinely want to know, and you're not asking because you want to get close to them. See, I think June knew I wasn't asking. I was in there every Wednesday anyway. I saw her all the time. But I think she knew I didn't want to, I wasn't because I wanted to get, quite candidly, I was a little shook up. I was shaking in my janitorial boots when I walked up to her, but I think she sensed I really genuinely wanted to know what happened. So find a mentor who's a giver and model them and ask the right questions, not the wrong questions that people ask. All the questions I see all day long, Chris, that people ask. And our lives are self-fulfilling prophecies. And they don't realize when they ask these questions, they kept getting these answers. They get the answers they don't want. And then they're surprised when they get the answer they don't want. And it was the answer to your question. So let's ask the right questions.
You are an author as well, right?
Yes.
How many books?
3.
What are they?
It's a series of books called Give to Be Great. It's the cornerstone of Givers University, the series that we teach. And it's about giving to be great, and hence the name. The first course is called The Giver's Mindset, how givers think differently than takers. And we contrast that for people and even give them checklists of things. These are the deeds that I spoke of earlier that you look for to help discern givers from takers. Givers think differently than takers. Absolute truth. Second is the giver's lifestyle. Givers live their lives differently. They have habits that they do that you can recognize. In fact, we identify 30 different habits of givers and 30 different habits of takers, and even discuss those in the course so people can recognize and discern the difference. And then the third course is called the Giver's Lifelong Learning. There we identify the prisons that people walk around in, and the things that stop them from getting the 6 things that we teach at Givers University, which is predictive, massive, and exceptional happiness, freedom, and greatness.
Wow. There you go. Amazing. EA, I love your story. I love everything you say, the mentor thing, the giver thing. Everything is just, well, it's millionaire, $1 million advice. I'll call it that. Golden nuggets, all of that. I'm going to wrap us up here today, and I'm going to have you on once again. I'm going to have you say a few more things. We could go a couple hours and not get bored, I'm sure.
Not with your show. There's no boredom in your show. That's guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Understood. Thank you. With you too. I'm going to ask you a couple questions. I asked you this on the first interview, but I'll hit it again for the new viewers and listeners. What's your favorite movie?
Lord of the Rings.
And that's awesome. And if you could go back in time and visit somebody who you admire, one person, doesn't have to be famous, who might that be if you want to have a conversation with him?
Moses.
Why is that?
I would, dude, what was it like bringing those plagues? That must have been really awesome. There are some serious lessons about ready to be learned, and I want to know what that was like helping bring those on.
So you just appear out of nowhere in this blue phone box, TARDIS, Doctor Who.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, hey Moses, can I have a word with you?
Yeah, exactly. That would be the way.
I would love. Let's make a sci-fi movie out of that, with you as the star. That would be something. You could probably get somebody to play Moses in that one. That would be good.
Yeah.
E.A. Csolkovitz, giversuniversity.com is the address, right, on that?
Yes.
And author, I'm going to say mentor. You have to be mentoring. I'm going to guess you're mentoring somebody somewhere, is my guess.
On an ongoing basis. And I share with people, when if you want to make a millionaire, if you want to be a millionaire, talk to someone who's made $1 million. Otherwise, the other guys aren't going to teach you if he hasn't made it. No. And I'd love to have everyone go to our website and sign up for our newsletter. We don't spam, once a week. They're going to get a what we call a giver's toolbox, which is a newsletter, another tool they can put in their toolbox. And in parting, I'd just like to share the 3 things my mentor shared that I say to myself every day, that your listeners should begin saying to themselves every day, because it works. And that is, I will never give up. I will keep rising up, and I will always overcome.
Words of wisdom. Thank you, EA.